Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Tofu, and today we're going to be doing a little bit of designing on our entranceway. But first, I would like to say a massive thank you to the 20 subscribers that have decided I'm good enough to actually just check out and follow. It really means a lot to me of anyone that follows me, likes any of my stuff, and obviously gives me a comment. But with that out of the way, let's have a look. So here's where I did a load of terraforming off of camera. It took me absolutely ages to get to a point where I was happy with it. I would say roughly about 6 hours. I was going to record it, but I just couldn't find something that I was happy with. So yeah, this is where I got to the point where I was happy to start planting trees. I wanted to focus firstly on this particular tree because I wanted to see if I could remember the trick to get the tree as close to the edge as possible. I did actually forget, so I had to quickly look it up, and I forgot about the sea of water using the waterscaping tool, and then obviously it allows you to break down some of the cliff and get it slightly closer to the edge. I did want it a little bit closer so it was almost against the wall initially, but I was pretty happy with the end result actually. It gave me a little bit more kind of wiggle room as far as putting down various items. I then moved on to the kind of various different parts of the, I guess, cliff. I didn't have any real kind of rhyme or reason as far as putting down these trees. As you can probably see, I did put some green dots down on the floor just as a kind of indication as roughly where I wanted them, but other than that I didn't have any kind of real plan. I just kind of went with whatever I thought was good at the time. So I kind of try and mix it up with the bamboo, obviously the hardwood trees, the occasional cedar tree, and the coconut trees as well. I do actually forget a few times that the coconut trees need to be planted on sand, so you may notice me forget that and then kind of just waste a bit of time essentially. And I'm sure everyone knows it at this point, but I'll say it anyway just in case. If you have got a tree that's in a middle stage of growth or like slightly smaller, you can obviously put down a piece of fruit somewhere in the vicinity of that tree, like one next to it, and that will stop it from growing any further, so it will stay at that kind of stunted stage. It's really good for obviously creating any kind of like depth or just variations of height with your trees and plants. Here's where I decided I wanted just to connect the waterfalls together and just create a little kind of stepping stone, because I really do like those in the builds, and I think it fits quite nicely with any kind of natural build like a jungle or even cottagecore, things like that. Here I was trying to decide where I would want my trees, and I couldn't quite work out where I wanted that last tree to go, so I ended up digging quite a few holes. Eventually I got where I wanted everything to go, and so I was happy with the result. I find it really painful when I see a balloon in the background. I just saw one there, so it's yeah, difficult to just leave a balloon and let it go. But if one happens to fly nearby, I will definitely pop it. This is one of those moments where I forgot about the whole sand, and then I put it too close to the cliff, and so I had to play around with it a fair bit. I then gathered a load of bushes, I gathered the weeds, glow weeds and vines, and this is where I started just plonking down various bits of, I guess, other greenery, other plants. Much like the trees, there was no real plan, no rhyme and reason for this. I just put them down, and how I thought would look good, to be honest. I really like the glow weeds that you get from the Happy Home Paradise Island, the DLC. I love that you can put them down and they have the different variations, the different kind of types and growth sizes as well. So if you're not happy with the particular size that you've put down, you just pick it up, put it down again, just keep on going until you get the correct stage of growth and the correct height that you want. I also like the fact that they glow. Naturally, glow weeds are going to do that. It's in the name. But it just creates a little bit more kind of vibrancy, a little bit more of a splash of colour as well, just not all the same kind of green. The amount of times I got stuck on this top cliff after I put these bushes down, it's actually embarrassing. I cut a lot of it out, just so you don't have to see me struggle so much, but yeah, it was a lot of times. I also put a few sugarcane plants just dotted around, just to give a little bit more variation. I think the sugarcane really works well in this kind of theme, like a jungle kind of forest core type theme. Another little kind of variation away from the plants, and obviously it looks fairly similar to the bamboo, so I think it works really well. A good thing about the glow weeds as opposed to the regular weeds as well is that they don't spread, whereas the regular weeds, obviously, if you time travel or just generally play through your day and you don't notice them, they will spread and they'll go like higher or lower down the cliffs if they've got space. Obviously, if they've got any kind of space next to them, adjoining them, they will just kind of spread into that. And so if you want a very specific weed placement, you have to keep on top of that. Whereas the glow weeds don't really do that. Oh, and here's the balloon that came too close, as I mentioned before. Can't resist a good balloon. And I got a recipe that I didn't know, so it was well worth it. Here's where I roughly go around with the vines. I have a few moments where I kind of struggle putting vines where I want them to go, or decide that I'm then going to put an item there instead, and so I end up taking it away. Me just having a look to see that I'm happy with the result so far, which I was. Okay, so here's where I roughly start doing my pathing. I downloaded 2 sets of designs. The jungle path, which I'm going to throw a little display up for the creator. And I also downloaded some jungle tiles or forest tiles, which I plan to use in a slightly later stage. But I've got a plan for those particular tiles as well. So with this particular tile, I don't tend to put any kind of pathing down like the terraforming pathing. I just tend to put it down on the floor as I go and just see what I like. I really like this dark kind of jungle path. I've used something very similar in my first island of Skytree, but it was a lot more kind of closer to the regular dirt path that you get in the terraforming option. Whereas I think the dark one really works well here, and it gives a nice kind of contrast, especially between all the kind of vibrancy of the plants eventually when I put down the flowers. and yeah, all the different trees, like the coconut trees, the bamboo, things like that. Here's where I decided I want the path to kind of split, so you can go eventually left or right. I think I do put a few trees just kind of in the middle there, so you'll be able to have an actual split. You won't be able to walk just straight forward on the pathing. But it gives me a rough idea as to what I then want to do with any kind of future terraforming and designing. Essentially, we're just going to be walking around the two cliffs. Here I gathered a load of items and started putting a few down. Here's the gazebo. I always forget the actual name. The Azayuma gazebo, I think. I'll have to correct that if that's wrong. I then tried putting a storefront down almost to give a fake building appearance, but I didn't like it, so I ended up just leaving the gazebo kind of as it was, and then put the tiki torches and the log stakes down. The log stakes almost act as if a little fence around that small kind of water area, the pond, if you will. And then just, yeah, various items placed down randomly. Again, just to give a little bit more life, a little bit more kind of colour and variance. I think the wheat fields are an absolute godsend from the DLC, and so many people end up using them in their builds. The wheat, it just looks so good, especially if you want any kind of like wild or like overgrown area. It's probably one of the best kind of design items that they introduced. I think this is one of those moments where I get stuck on the top cliff, as I mentioned previously. I then noticed Sky just in the corner, was thinking. I didn't talk to her in the end, basically because I want to go to the next day and see if I can get either Lucha or Kid Cat to have the fort bubble, and then maybe want to move out. Hopefully we can get that and initiate another villager hunt where we can get someone that we actually would like. I do add the occasional area of pathing down just on the top of the cliffs, just to kind of mix things up, and obviously it stops things like weeds, flowers from expanding their area. I thought this was a cute little kind of addition, basically adding a few different gyroids. Also gives a little bit of movement into the build as well. Just as you walk past, you may not notice them, maybe you will. I had to go for a break at one point, and I guess I managed to mess up and hit the recording software or something like that, and I managed to miss me placing down a load of items and putting down a load of flowers as well. I did manage to notice at one point, and so I've got a small amount of footage putting down flowers. So this is obviously it. There's no real rhyme and reason for the flowers that go down. I'm just putting down what I think looks good at the time, and then we'll head off to the final showcase, I guess, and I'll show everything that I've done. Okay guys, I guess this is the big reveal over the end result as far as the entranceway, so let's just have a look and see what I've done. So obviously, as you saw when I was building it, it's just a small kind of entranceway, nothing too kind of crazy, but it does lead to the possibility to obviously transition into various other areas. I did mention that obviously I lost a little bit of footage, so there was a few items that you didn't see me put down, such as the termite mound on the left, or the hedge standee on the top. I thought that looked really good with the little bit of dirt underneath as well. See, I put a little bit of pathing on the right hand side. Eventually I'm going to have it go upwards to the plaza, and a little bit on the left hand side, and I want this to eventually wrap around all the way down here, and I'll do something with this little area here as well. I did obviously show a little bit of footage regarding putting down flowers, but I did lose a little bit as well, so you didn't necessarily get to see the entirety of me putting down flowers, but you get the gist. But overall I'm pretty happy with the results, and I guess I'll also have a look and show you guys what it looks like at night as well. So quick jump cut. Okay guys, so here we are at night. Obviously we've got the tiki torch lit, and so that looks good. The glowing moss just gives that little bit of luminosity. Is that a word? It is now. But it looks really good, obviously, with the bright yellow, and obviously if you run over glowing moss, it kind of just gives that little kind of like almost firefly spark as well. Yeah, I'm pretty happy overall. Hopefully you all like it as well. I think they're shooting stars. I'm pretty sure I heard one. I guess that means, yeah, there we go. Magical. I guess we've got Celeste maybe on the island as well then. So okay guys, I guess that will wrap it up for today's episode. Thank you very much if you watched this far. Obviously if you like the video, please hit like, and maybe consider subscribing as well if you haven't done already. For the next episode, I guess I'm going to tackle the tutorial for the Happy Home Paradise DLC, and we'll make Eloise's home and probably another villager as well. So hopefully you look forward to that. And yeah, until next time guys, cheers, have a good one, see ya.